Hello, everyone, and welcome to Connecting the Dots with Dr. Ashaye. This Wednesday, I'm going to answer some common health questions, the ones I hear from patients all the time. And it's really about building a healthy foundation. And that's so important for health because when we're healthy and when we do that, when we build on a solid foundation of health, it makes all the difference. But I'm going to be answering questions about weight loss, about medications, and different things like that. So I hope you stick around to hear all of it. But before we get into it, hit that subscribe button. That's how we get the word out so more people can get the information that is helpful. And this is Connecting the Dots with Dr. Ashaye. I'm your host, Lola Ashaye. I'm a double board certified family medicine and lifestyle medicine doctor, and I'm the owner of In Touch Primary Care in Sugar Land, Texas, a Houston suburb. And you can check us out at www.intouchprimarycare.com. So let's get right into it. First question, why am I gaining weight even though I'm not eating very much? So I hear this quite a bit. I've had several patients, they're trying to lose weight and they're kind of sort of on a diet, the kind of diet where they are maybe doing some intermittent fasting, but they're kind of limiting what they eat generally. Maybe they are waiting to, they're skipping breakfast, they're hungry a lot, those types of things, right? And the problem with this approach, number one, is when you're hungry and you're starving yourself essentially, you would eat more when it's time to eat. And so you're going to eat whatever you see when you don't plan. You're going to eat faster. And that means you end up eating more because it takes time for you to know when to stop. So that's the first thing. So you end up eating more when you use that approach. The other issue with the approach is where, this is for that person that is feeling like, you know what, I'm not eating that much, but I'm still gaining weight. Is a lot of people I've seen do this with intermittent fasting where they're skipping breakfast, which doesn't help. And that's because your tolerance for glucose decreases over the course of the day. So it's much better to eat more in the beginning of the day because you have a higher tolerance in the beginning of the day. So your blood sugar can be twice as high if you eat the same thing that you eat for breakfast, for dinner, right? The same exact meal. If you eat it for breakfast, your blood sugar can be, let's say, like 70. And then you eat it the same exact thing for dinner, your blood sugar can be 140, twice as high by eating the same thing, just a different time. And that's what I'm talking about. Your tolerance for glucose decreases throughout the day. So for those that are doing intermittent fasting, a better approach will be to move that to earlier. Don't skip breakfast. Move that to earlier. Instead of doing the 2 to 9, do the 8 to 4, for example. So that's another thing that really I've seen a lot of people do that, and that affects their weight and their health. The other thing, and we're talking about, I'm eating not that much, but it seems like I'm gaining weight. The other thing that a lot of people don't factor in is other things that affect weight gain. So things like physical activity, their sleep or lack of sleep, their stress. And so it depends on what's going on with the person, right? So I've seen a lot of people sabotage all their efforts because, for example, they're not sleeping. When you don't sleep, you have abnormal hormone levels, and that causes more insulin resistance, so that basically, all you're doing with dieting is not going to work quite as well. So sleep is important, stress management or stress reduction is important. All those things play into a healthy weight and health in general. So it's not one size fits all. You need to work with your doctor and come up with a personalized care plan, and that really makes a difference. So that's the first thing. We can't go over every single thing because it's not going to be the same for everybody. But just generally thinking, if you're one of those people saying, I'm gaining weight, I'm not eating very much, please go to your doctor, come up with a plan that works for you. So that's the first thing. Now, this one is more of a comment than a question. And this is something that I've heard from patients a lot. So usually it's a scenario where they've been diagnosed with something. It could be high blood pressure, or it could be diabetes, or something like that. And their doctor is saying, we need to start a medication to control this. And the patient is saying, I don't want to start a medication because I'm concerned about side effects. So that's something that, I like to address. I'm really not a big fan of medications either. And my goal is typically to get people off of medications. That's what I want to do when I work with people. However, there is a way to do that, and there's a way to do that safely. So a big part of it is understanding that, yes, side effects might occur, but we always have to weigh the risk benefit. So for example, if your blood pressure is 170 over 110, and you are not treating with medication and you're waiting for lifestyle changes to happen, yeah, there might be a few people that are able to reverse that with lifestyle changes quickly, but majority of people, it's going to take time, because making lifestyle behaviors is not just about what you're doing, it's learning how to do it, the process of doing it, and it's also really the mindset. There's a lot of mindset that goes into consistently keeping up with lifestyle behaviors. So that tends to take time. So while we're waiting for all that to kick in, the problem is your organs can be damaged. And that's why it's so important to have a balanced approach when people talk about doing things naturally. Two things: make sure you're checking to make sure whatever you're doing is working, and then make sure that while you're waiting for natural things to take place, you're not causing permanent organ damage, which that will be a problem. So getting treated with medications can be helpful while you're working on lifestyle changes. Again, I would say go and talk to your doctor, tell them to help you come up with a personalized care plan. It's not one size fits all. Everybody has to take whatever conditions they have, look at the big picture, and make sure that it works for you. Now, the other thing that comes up a lot with patients is they feel like maybe, when they go to a doctor and they're treating something, they just keep adding medicines, right? So, you start with something, for example, maybe you are being treated for high blood pressure, and you start your blood pressure medication, and then that blood pressure medication causes your potassium to be low. Now you're taking potassium as well. And so you just feel like you're just always adding something. Unfortunately, that does happen, right? It just depends on where in the course of the condition a person is, and that would determine the best course of action. But a big reason this happens where medications need to be added and added and added is because in traditional care medicine, we're building on a faulty foundation. So what do I mean? Really, health should be built on a solid foundation of lifestyle behaviors, and then medication should be an add-on. But what tends to happen is medication is the first thing, and then the lifestyle changes are kind of on the back burner. So when there's a shaky foundation, the building is going to be fragile. So the starting point, regardless of where you are in the severity of your condition, should not be medication. The starting point should be a healthy nutrition, physical activity, healthy sleep, stress management, avoiding risky substances, your relationships. All those things are important for your health. So when those things are not taken into consideration, and then we're building on just medications, then there is going to be that where you're going to need to keep adding medications to make things work. So it's important that, while we are initially may need medicines, but while we're treating conditions and managing conditions, that you are working, again, talk to your doctor, come up with a personalized plan, but make sure that you're approaching your health from focusing on a healthy foundation rather than approaching it focusing on, medications. And that will help reduce your overall or eliminate the number of medications that you're taking. Okay, I think that's all we have time for today. But the point is, building a healthy foundation is crucial for health. And apart from preventing serious health conditions, you feel better, your mood is better, you have more energy, and you can reduce or even eliminate the number of medications that you have to take. So I hope that helps. And if you're in the Houston area, you know where we are. If you're looking for a doctor that is proactive about your health, check us out at In Touch Primary Care. We do things differently. We focus on health prevention and lifestyle behaviors as a foundation for good health. You can find out more on our website, www.intouchprimarycare.com. You can call us at 713-280-9985. I hope that helps. And so I will see you next week at the same time at 2:15. Bye-bye.